large letters, and then it has the first stanza there of Amazing Grace. And I was just looking at that and just started crying and just thanking the Lord for my salvation, what the Lord Jesus has done for me. Amen. And I like that song, and I believe I'm going to preach a message and mention that in the message. But I do love Jesus, amen, and that's a great truth. I like that, amen. And anyhow, that's good. Well, this evening we got Brother Johnson. He's going to be singing a special for us, and I appreciate Brother Johnson, all the work he does here with our bus ministry, keeps the buses rolling, and does a lot of work around here. Very busy fellow, amen. He retired, and now he works harder than he did before he retired, amen. But I appreciate him, and he's going to sing a special. And Brother Cooper's going to come and close out the meeting tonight and give us a message. I'm sure that God's laid on his heart. I'm sure it'll be help to us, a blessing to us, amen. And I appreciate Brother Cooper, known him for many years now. And I'm excited about his pastorate down in Walkertown, North Carolina. I'm very excited about it, amen. And I know God's going to bless him and use him down there. He's used him already, I mean, for many years now. He's only 40 years old, folks, amen. God's used him already for many years, all right. So I appreciate his friendship. Thank God for the ministry there and our friendship. I'm glad he's with us tonight. Brother Johnson's going to come and sing a special. Then Brother Cooper's going to preach for us. Brother Johnson.
I traveled down a lonely road, and no one seemed to care. The burden on my weary back had bowed me to despair. I oft complained to Jesus how folks were treating me. And then I heard him say so tenderly, my feet were also weary upon the Calvary road. The cross became so heavy, I fell beneath the load. Be faithful, weary pilgrim, the morning I can see. Just lift your cross and follow close to me. I work so hard for Jesus, I often boast and say, I've sacrificed a lot of things to walk the narrow way. I gave up fame and fortune, I'm worth a lot to thee. And then I hear him gently say to me, I left the throne of glory and counted it but loss. My hands were nailed in anger upon a cruel cross. But now we'll make the journey with your hand safe in mine. So lift your cross and follow close to me. Oh Jesus, if I die upon a foreign field someday, 'twould be no more than love demands, no less could I repay. No greater love hath mortal man than for a friend to die. These are the words he gently spoke to me. If just a cup of water I place within your hand, just a cup of water is all that I demand. But if by death to living they can thy glory see, I'll take my cross and follow close to thee.
Amen. 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 All right, take your Bible, turn with me to Luke chapter 8, please. Luke chapter number 8. It's been good to be with you yesterday. Then this morning in the school, we had a great time preaching to the inmates there. And then also now tonight, excited about being with you in church. And thank God for you. Thank you, preacher, for letting me come. And it's amazing. I think it's been 8 to 10 years. I don't know exactly. Probably about 10 years ago, the first time I preached at the church over in the other building. And it's amazing how much older most of you look. And and I have not changed at all. And I don't understand how that happens, but I'll pray for you. But anyhow, Brother Jeremy, you're included in that now, okay? Up there, don't sleep just because you're up there in the upper deck, okay? Hey, pay attention. Appreciate your help. But I've enjoyed being here. Thank you for the invitation. And been good for me to be in the hotel room today and get a lot of things done, and that's a blessing as well. And pray for him if you will. I'm going to leave early in the morning. I don't know who drew the short straw. Did you do it, Brother Mark? Don't be late. If you're late, I will kill you. I promise you that. I got stuff to do tomorrow. But anyway, we got to leave. I mean, my flight leaves at like 5:40 a.m. from Pittsburgh. And so God's not even awake by 5:40 a.m., I don't think. But we're going to leave about 3, I guess. I don't know. But it's going to be a party. I'm excited already. We might just stay up. We'll slumber party tonight. How about that? We'll just watch. Anyway, so watch a movie. We'll put on our pajamas. We'll just have a fun time. All right, Luke chapter 8. I better just get in here. Luke chapter number 8. And we'll begin reading in verse 40 and then read down into the text. And I'll give you the thought that God's laid on my heart for tonight. I got a video sent to me from my wife a little bit ago. And it's just a video of the cupboard. We're packing up stuff, you know, because we're moving up to the parsonage still. I'm going crazy. I don't know where I live, or I'm a man with no country. Where have I been? Oh, I was in Baltimore, Maryland last week, and flew back in. And our church has an apartment on the property. We own like 5 houses for staff, and they're all filled. But we have an apartment for missionaries, and it's empty. So I'm staying in that apartment. And then my wife and Lincoln are in South Carolina. They drive up 2 hours and join me Friday night, Saturday, then drive home Sunday because he's still in the Christian school down there and has to finish out the semester. So when I flew here, they had gone home. I flew from the apartment to here. I'll go back to the apartment, be there Wednesday, Thursday. They'll come see me on Friday. And then I got to go to Atlanta, Georgia, Monday, Tuesday, then to West Virginia for Thanksgiving, and then crazy after that. But anyway, just pray about all that. But we're packing stuff up. So the pantry is empty. And Desiree was just videoing, and it was just the pantry doors, and then she pulled them open. And inside of the pantry doors is Lincoln is our boy's name. We call him Link. Link wearing his Christmas pajamas with a red nose that's battery operated, lighting up red, blinking inside of there. And he's got like Christmas mugs and a Christmas stuffed animal. He is ready. I mean, he's anti-Thanksgiving, I guess. He's one of those people. But anyhow, I can't wait. It's fun. Our house is crazy. We need padded walls and everything else. All right, Luke chapter number 8, verse number 40. Here's what your Bible says. And it came to pass that when Jesus was returned, the people gladly received him, for they were all waiting for him. And behold, there came a man named Jairus, and he was a ruler of the synagogue, and he fell down at Jesus' feet and besought him that he would come into his house. For he had only one daughter, about 12 years of age, and she lay a-dying. But as he went, the people thronged him. And a woman having an issue of blood, 12 years, which had spent all her living upon physicians, neither could be healed of any, came behind him and touched the border of his garment, and immediately her issue of blood stanched. And Jesus said, Who touched me? When all denied, Peter and they that were with him said, Master, the multitude throng thee and press thee, and sayest thou, Who touched me? And Jesus said, Somebody hath touched me, for I perceive that virtue is gone out of me. Now I want you to notice that statement. Christ knows that he's helped somebody. He feels that he has changed somebody's life. And I love that. I'm glad that he is touched with the feeling of our infirmities. I'm glad that he is moved whenever he meets the need in our life. I'm glad he's not cold and hard toward us, but I'm glad it touches him when he touches us, if you will. And he says this, I perceive virtue is gone out of me. Now, what that means to me when I hear that is something that he had, now he does not have because he gave it to this woman. For example, if you have water in a cup and pour it out, the water has gone out. If you have air in a balloon and you squeeze it, the air has gone out. So he said, I perceive that power or virtue has gone out of me. In verse 47, and when the woman saw that she was not hid, she came trembling, and falling down before him, she declared unto him before all the people for what cause she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. And he said unto her, Daughter, be of good comfort, thy faith hath made thee whole, go in peace. Now, let me ask you the question. What is the need in the text that we read? What is the miracle What is the need? I'm not asking you just so you stare at me. I want an answer. What is it? Healing of who? There's a woman with an issue of blood who gets healed. But that's not why we have the story. The reason we even get that story is because there's a need before that one. And it's a man who has a daughter that's dying. She's been alive as long as this other woman's been sick. There is a man who has a daughter at home, and she's about to die, and this man goes to Jesus and said, nobody else can help me, but I think Jesus can help me. And he goes to fetch Jesus for his need. And while they are en route to meet his need, this woman interrupts and intrudes upon that man's need and gets her need met. And in getting her need met, Jesus says, something that was in me now is not in me because it went into her. That probably encouraged everybody there but for Jairus, because he needed that for his daughter. Everything that Jesus did for that woman is what he wanted him to do for his daughter. But you read the rest of the chapter, the need even amplifies, and now it's not just a sick girl, but it's a dead one. And they say, don't trouble the master, just leave him alone, she's dead. And yet Jesus goes to Jairus' house, and you know the story. He speaks to this girl, her spirit comes in her again, and she lives. And here's what we discover. He helped that woman with the issue of blood, but there was still enough Jesus to help Jairus. He wasn't exhausted. He wasn't emptied out. The virtue that went out did not lessen his level of virtue. He had enough in him, if you will, to meet another need. For a little while tonight, I want to preach on that thought. There's just as much Jesus as there's ever been. And if you have a need tonight and you think, well, he's done this for everybody else, when's he going to do it for me? I don't know when, but I know he can. And let's pray. God, I pray you'll help us tonight. Please stir our hearts with this good truth. In Jesus' name, amen. I was flying into Milwaukee, Wisconsin to go preach somewhere in Illinois. And a boy I had in Bible college picked me up there at the airport. And we were driving to the hotel in Illinois. And he said, do you want something to eat? And I said, yeah, I want something to eat. That'd be great. And for me, I like breakfast food all around the clock. And if you don't, that's okay. Not everybody's saved. And anyhow, but I like it any time of the day. And he said, what do you want to eat? I said, Waffle House, wherever. I like it all. And he said, how about IHOP? And I said, all right, I can go to IHOP. You ever heard of IHOP before? You know what it stands for? International House of Pain. Anyway, we were going to go to IHOP, and International House of Pancakes. And we went to IHOP, and while we were there, we sat down to order, and the girl came up to us, and we could just tell it's going to be a bad experience because she said, well, there's a lot of things that we have on the menu that we don't have right now. And we're like, what in the world? She began to list all the things that they were out of. You know what one thing was they were out of? This is going to blow your mind. They were out of pancakes. Okay. I'm like, well, we had to change the name to International House so we ain't got nothing or something. I don't know what it is. But she said we had to 86 the pancakes. And I said, what in the world does 86 mean? You ever heard that before? Have you ever worked in the restaurant industry? Maybe you know the term 86. They'll say 8. All right, fine, calm down. They say 86. They'll 86 something when they're out. Like if a restaurant has a special or something and everybody goes and orders the special, and they'll say we're out of green beans, 86 the green beans, 86 the potatoes. And what that means is we used to have it, but now we don't have it anymore. We used to be able to serve it, but we can't serve it any longer. Now, I thought about that. I'm glad that every time I go to Jesus, everything is still on the menu. I'm glad it's never exhausted, it's never depleted, he never runs out, and surely never runs dry. And there's just as much Jesus the next time as there was this time, and then the time after that, he'll be all the God that he's ever been. I don't know if you ever grew up with a well, but you know when you really appreciate a well? When it runs dry. Most of the time, you never even pay attention to it. You don't even think about that old hole in the ground out behind your house, but you let that thing run dry, and then you begin to understand just how important that well was. Most days, you don't give it a second thought, but once the water ceases to run, it causes all kinds of trouble and can even bring death and devastation when that water is no longer in the well. And here's what I know. It doesn't matter how deep the well is. It doesn't matter how faithful it has been. Every earthly well, every earthly source is apt to run dry. Even tonight, if you go home and you turn on your faucet,
Number one, you're going to rack up a huge bill. But number two, I promise you this, if you let that faucet run long enough, if we could live 1,000 years, there will be a moment when that faucet ceases to run. Because it's just common sense that every earthly source can eventually be exhausted. But tonight, I want to remind you of a source that is better than a mountain spring. It is deeper than a man-made reservoir. It is more vast than the ocean. And while every other well may run dry, this well never reaches the bottom. You can take as many gallons out of this well as you want, and it's never diminished in the least. Millions can come, and yet there's still plenty more. Thousands can come, and it's still not exhausted. Hundreds can come, and yet its depths are just as deep as it's ever been. It's inexhaustible, it's indiminishable, it is an everlasting flow. I was studying, and by that I mean I went to Google, and here's what the internet told me. The internet said there's 32 quintillion gallons of water in the ocean. It's a good place for you to ooh and all, because none of us even know what that means. But here's what it is. The oceans cover 71% of the world. There are 6 quadrillion gallons of water in the Great Lakes. There are 5 million gallons of water in the Mississippi. Lake Mead, that's a reservoir out west that makes the Hoover Dam, makes that reservoir. There's 9 trillion gallons of water in that reservoir. Now, I don't know how much that looked like. I just know it's a whole bunch. But here's the truth of it. If you had 1,000,000 years in a bucket, you could drain the ocean dry. If you had 1,000,000 years in a bucket, you could drain the Mississippi River dry. If you had 1,000,000 years in a bucket in free time, you could drain that reservoir dry. But I don't care how much time or eternity, He will never drain our Lord dry. Those other sources may dry up, but thank God He never will. Nicodemus drew out of that well, and yet it's just as full as ever. A Samaritan woman drew from that well, it's just as full as ever. A thief on a cross drew out of that well, and he's just as full as ever. Rivers may run dry, oceans may run low, wells may run empty, but Jesus never fails. Oh my. That's why the Bible says He's immutable. That means He never changes. He's eternal. That means He's never dying. He's inexhaustible. That means He'll never diminish. He's our King, eternal, immortal, and the only wise God. Here's what He said to Moses. Moses, I am. You say, what does that mean? Whatever you want it to. That means whatever you need in the minute, that's what He is. If you need grace, He's all that. If you need mercy, He's all that. If you need love, He's all that. If you need comfort, He's all that. Wake up, Jeremy. If you need forgiveness, He's all that. Whatever you need is what He is. That means this. He is forever, forever. He is perpetually perpetual. He's eternally eternal. He's everlastingly everlasting. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the Lord, and He changes not. I'm glad He doesn't diminish. I'm glad He doesn't age. I'm glad He doesn't cripple up. I'm glad He doesn't weaken. I'm trying to help you. I'm glad He doesn't wane. I'm glad the level never drops. He was God in eternity past. He'll be God on the throne in eternity future, and He's God on His throne tonight. And though He's helped millions before, He can still meet my need and yours tonight. I think of how many prayers have been prayed and answered, and yet He can still answer more. How many burdens have been carried, and yet He's lifted, and yet He can still lift another? How many steps has He guided, and yet He can still guide our steps? How many sinners has He saved, and He can still save an old sinner? I wonder how much grace He's given out, and yet the rolling waves of grace are just as high as they've ever been. How many gallons of mercy has He given out, and yet He has just as much mercy as ever? How much love has been drawn from God, and yet His love level still remains high. You can take millions out of the Atlantic and maybe make the level low, but listen, Jesus is always the same. Millions have come, and yet Jesus is the same. Thousands have come, and yet Jesus is the same. Hundreds have come, and yet Jesus is the same. All the needs, all the loads, all the promises, and yet Jesus is the same. I think about that hymn, It Is No Secret. What God can do, and what He's done for others, He can do for you. Here in Luke chapter 8, this is one of the busiest chapters in the Bible. From the beginning to the end, it is filled with examples of Christ being busy teaching, healing, ministering to people. And I love that about Jesus. I'm glad he wasn't just God come down to cash a welfare check, sit on a couch, get an Obama phone, and vote for Joe Biden. I'm glad that he was a worker, amen? Be good for some Christians to do the same thing. If you study it out, Jesus was busy. By the way, if you get busy, you won't get in so much trouble. You study out the Gospels, and those Gospels show us Jesus through a different lens. For example, Matthew shows us Jesus as king. Mark shows us Jesus as a servant. John shows us Jesus as the Son of God. And then Luke shows us Jesus as the Son of Man. And what I love about that is Christ is in touch with us. He's a high priest that is moved with the feeling of our infirmities. He's compassionate and caring and tender, and he sees the needs of men. And we see that displayed in the text we have here before us. Now, when you come down to verse number 40 through the end of the chapter, what we find here is a miracle sandwiched inside of a miracle. We find a need being met inside of a need. We find a burden lifted inside of a burden. Jesus shows us his sufficiency, not just over demons and not just over disease, but even over death in this story. Now, you see in verse number 40 what your Bible says? It says, it came to pass that when Jesus was returned, the people gladly received him. Look at this, for they were all waiting for him. I thought about that. This crowd has heard what Jesus has done for others, and they all have a need, and everybody's need is different, but everybody's need will be met the same way. Jesus is the answer for every need. I don't know what all these people were going through, but Jesus was the one who'd get them through whatever it was. You might be here tonight. My need is not like yours, and your need might not be like mine, but I promise you this, Jesus is enough to meet every single one of those needs. You ever noticed how other people's burdens don't seem so big and yours always seem super big? And sometimes mine to you don't seem that great, but to me they seem real heavy. I'm glad the same answer is for all of us, and that is Jesus. If it's sickness, he's the answer. If it's a crazy kid, he's the answer. If it's a nagging mother-in-law, and that is the need of my heart tonight. He's the answer. Whatever it is, Christ will meet the need. So picture it in your mind. Here are these people. They're waiting on Christ. He's come back now to Capernaum, and they're all thronging him. In the midst of that crowd comes this man named Jairus. The Bible said Jairus is a ruler of the synagogue. That's like a trustee. He's not a teacher nor a preacher, but he oversees the operation of the synagogue. Now you think about that. If anyone should have been against Jesus, it's Jairus. I mean, they're on opposing teams here. But isn't it funny how even a sinner knows where to get help when the bottom falls out? You let those folks cuss church. I mean, you let the tragedy come in their life, they run for the church. They run to the preacher. They know where help comes from, and it ain't the government. They know they got to get with God. Here comes Jairus. He comes to Christ, and the Bible said he throws himself down. I'm glad his position didn't make him prideful. I'm glad he humbled himself. He comes to Christ and lowers himself, and he said, Jesus, I've got a daughter, and she's my only daughter. She's 12 years old, and she's sick and dying at home. You think about that 12-year-old girl. Her entire life's ahead of her. She's at the age now 12 years old. In that day and custom, she could be getting married about that time. I mean, everything ought to be out in front of her, and here she is dying. You better believe that touched the tender heart of her father. He wanted to see his daughter live, and he knew if anybody can turn it around, Jesus can turn this thing around. I like it. He doesn't run to the scribe. He doesn't run to the Pharisee. He doesn't fetch a physician. He knew when he really had a need, he better get to Jesus. By the way, that's why we keep the lights on. That's why we keep the door open. That's why we don't chase sinners off. That's why we love folks and stay compassionate, because there might be a day when God gets their attention. And thank God they'll get some sense and leave the hog pen, come back to the Father's house and say, I know where I can get my help. And I'm glad for that. I like what Jesus does, man. Jesus doesn't say, let me check my day planner. Let me get with my secretary. Let me look at the calendar. The Bible said Jesus rises up and he goes. I love that. That means he wants to meet the need. You know, Jesus wants to meet the need before you ever even know you have it. Let me say it again. Jesus wants to meet your need before you even know you have it, because he loves you and I so much. He's sitting on ready, man. He's waiting. He said, I just wait there. I can't wait till they ask. I can't wait till they pray. I can't wait till they have faith enough for me to step in. I want to meet the need. Some people say, well, I don't know. God's just waiting on this thing. Or they'll say God's not willing. It's not that God's not willing. I think it's often that God is waiting. He's waiting on us to ask for his help. The Bible said Jesus rises up and they go. No delay, no detour. He is going to Jairus' house. Now, can you imagine? I would say Jairus is excited. He's not acting like a Tuesday night crowd. I mean, he's excited. I mean, I think he's probably like, whoa, Jesus is coming to my house. Hey, my daughter's dead and she's going to die, but not now. She'll live. I mean, she's going to get better. He's coming to our house, and I'm sure they're walking high, man. He's got his chest puffed out, got his chin in the air. Hey, Jairus and Jesus, hand in hand. And as they go, that crowd begins to throng them, people everywhere. And then there's a woman in the shadows. She didn't come fetch Jesus. She didn't leave her home and go out there in front of everybody and say, Jesus, I'm sick and I need healing. You know why? Because she couldn't do that. She wasn't allowed to even be in that crowd because of the stigma of her sickness. She has to come under the shadow of secrecy because she is unclean ceremonially. This woman has been bleeding, hemorrhaging in her body for 12 years. Imagine the pain, the cramping, the weakness in her flesh, the struggle. If she had a husband, her husband's unclean. If she had children, her children are unclean. If she touches people in that crowd, they would be unclean. Everywhere she goes, she's a marked woman because of this disease. She has spent everything she has on every kind of avenue to get healed, and nothing has worked. So she's broken physically, she's broken financially, and she's just an outcast from society. And this woman sneaks into that crowd. She didn't ask Jesus to help her. She just goes in there quietly. And she lies down and reaches out with that finger of faith. And that touch of faith, that bony little finger touches the hem of his garment. That means she had to get down real low. It's amazing how a lot of folks get what they need from God when they get down real low like that. She got low and reached out and touched the hem of his garment. And the touch of faith brings the triumph of faith. And all of a sudden, because she had faith that Christ could do what doctors couldn't, Christ could do what nobody else could, she was healed. She could feel it. Wait a minute. The weakness is gone. The pain is gone. The blood is stopped. She's a changed woman. One touch from Christ changed her life. Amen. She's content just to go to the house. You know what Jesus does? Wait a minute. I need a public profession of faith. He said, wait a minute. Somebody touched me. And Peter's job is always to put his sandal in his mouth. So Peter says, everybody's touching you. And he's like, Captain Obvious. Smack you with the Bible. He said, hey, listen now. I know that. I'm well aware. He said, I don't mean somebody's touching me. I mean somebody has touched me. You know, there's a lot of folks come to church and just kind of get there, and then there's some folks who come to church and get something. That's different. This woman's not like everybody else. The crowd was just there, but this woman actually got plugged into God. I love that, man. I don't come to church just to bump into you. I want to bump into him. There's a big difference. That's why some folks snore through it and some folks shout through it. That's why some folks complain and other folks worship and praise God. That's why some folks are in and out and some folks are all in, because some folks just come and all they get is a rug burn from a padded chair on their blessed assurance, and then some folks have a contact with God. And that's the difference here. This woman here, I mean, in this crowd, she didn't just touch him, man. She touched him. Amen. And Jesus said, Peter, somebody touched me. I mean, somebody got help today. That's what I mean. And he said, I know this because I perceive virtue's gone out of me. And that woman steps out and said, it's me. You know why? Because you don't just get saved in secret. With the mouth, confession is made. And he said, I want her to tell everybody what happened to her. Don't be ashamed of me. She said, it was me. I touched you. You know what he says to her? He doesn't say woman. It was woman when we first found her. You know what he calls her now? Daughter. Because it changes your relationship when Jesus touches you. Isn't that a blessing? I'm glad, name, before you get touched and before he touches you, it might be drunk so-and-so or drug addict so-and-so or just a sister, not sister. It might just be woman so-and-so or Mr. so-and-so. But after you touch Jesus and Jesus touches you, it's son and it is daughter, it is brother and it is sister, and he changes that relationship. That speaks of something, doesn't it? There's that tie there, that bond there, that tenderness there. He says, daughter, your faith has made thee whole. She's been sick for 12 years and no longer one touch from Jesus was enough. I would say about that time, everybody there is rejoicing. I'm talking about there's a crowd of people thronging Christ. And this woman has made a public profession that I was broken and now I'm whole. I was sick and now I'm well. I was cast out and now I'm in. I was a stranger and now I'm a daughter. Hey, Jesus changed my life. They're probably all singing, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Glory to his name. Down at the cross where my Savior died. They're probably singing all these songs. Hey, somebody touched me, right? And I mean, they're singing all these songs. And then everybody's shouting it out. And then there's a man over here who heard, what did he say? Wait a minute. Did he just say virtue went out of him? I'm the one who I booked Jesus for my need. I put everything on hold at the synagogue to come fetch him. My routine, my reputation, my job is on the line because my daughter is sick. And I got him to meet my need, and he met her need. I've been praying for years. She just showed up. I've been crying over this thing. She just stepped in here. I've been in church my whole life, and they just got saved last week, and now they got their prayer answered. I've been loving you and living for you, and my son's a prodigal, or my daughter's a prodigal, and why'd you bring theirs back? I've been asking God to save my lost family, and wait a minute, they don't even love you like I do, and you saved their kids. And you just said, wait, virtue went out. But I needed you for my need. Have you ever felt like that before? You've been praying over something and begging God for something, and the very thing that you want from God, somebody else gets it. You better be careful when that happens. You don't start to get bitter and think, you know what, that's not fair. Yeah, you're right, it's not fair. You and I don't deserve anything. Come on now. We sit there and think, wait a minute, that is not right. I'm this, that, or the other, and this is happening to why does my wife have cancer? Why does my husband have the disease? And why have you not healed them? And you healed them, and they don't even go to church. I needed you for my need. And then to amplify it, one of Jairus' friends come and say, wait a minute, I hate to tell you this, but while he's been healing her, your need just got even heavier. Your burden just got worse. Because while he was wasting time helping her, your daughter died. Now, I don't know about you, but right there my faith would have been a little bit shaken. And you've got to know that in the flesh you begin to wonder, he just said less was in him than was before. Because I know if there's something that goes out, that means it used to be in. And that means if I pour water from a cup, there's less water. If I push air out of a balloon, there's less air. I needed all of Jesus for my need. And I see everybody here is shouting, but not Jairus. His daughter is dead. And here's what he's heard. He's heard about a maniac being delivered. He's heard about a storm being calmed. He's heard about this issue of blood being healed. And yet during all of that in this chapter, he has to wait on Christ while he meets those other needs. And his daughter dies in the meantime. But I love what Jesus does. Jesus says, hey, don't worry. He says, fear not. He says, only believe. He said, don't you worry about it. I know that I've done things for others and you feel like you've been put on hold, but you're not on hold. I'm right on time. He said, don't you worry about this. And I love it. Let me say this again. No matter how big the ocean, it could run dry. No matter how deep the well, it can run dry. No matter how vast the river, it can run dry. But there's one well that is never diminished, because you see tonight that if Christ ever ceased to be all of Christ in any area, he is not Christ at all. If God ever lays down any of his godliness in any area, then he's not God at all. That means if he ever loses 1 ounce of grace or 1 ounce of love or 1 ounce of power or 1 ounce of mercy, he's not worthy of worship. He's not worthy of trust. He's not worthy of our devotion. That means his word is a lie. His promises are untrue, and he is not God at all. It is not possible for our God to be diminished. He's not a wash rag that you wring out and drain dry. He's everlastingly everlasting. I said he's forever, forever, and he's just as much God now as he's ever been. You say, I don't know. Can he meet my need? Oh, yes. He can still meet your need. I don't know. Can he send healing our way? Yes. He can still send healing your way. I don't know. Can he save my sinner? Yes, he's still enough to save your sinner. And I beg you, before I leave town, don't you give up on God. God doesn't give up on us. He's just as much Jesus as he has ever been. He goes to Jairus' house. He says, fear not. When he gets there, he takes Peter, James, and John. inside. What's interesting is none of those guys even get to write about it. He takes those guys in, and there's mourners there. And in verse 52, he says, and all wept and bewailed her, but he said, weep not, she's not dead, but sleepeth. And look what they said. They laughed him to scorn. You know why? They're professional mourners. They're paid to act like they care. They make their living crying and weeping and wailing. A lot of folks go to church, professional churchgoers. And when Jesus said, don't worry, she's asleep, that's bad for business for them. And so they laughed. You know what he does? Kicks them out. You know why? Because unbelief never gets to see what faith does. He said, unbelief, you're evicted. That's good. Hey, if you don't want to have faith, then I'll save people some other church. If you don't want to have faith, then I'll grow some other place. If you don't want to have faith, then I'll help other people. But for those that want to see and believe I can do it, he said, come on in. And I like that. He brings mom and dad on in, Peter, James, and John all in. And then he begins, he puts his, he said, the Bible said he put out his hand and called, saying, Maid, arise. And verse 55, her spirit came in again, and she arose straightway. I love that. When I was growing up in West Virginia, and they have a spring on Route 33 going out of Spencer to Calhoun County, on to Gilmer County, and then eventually you end up into hell. But anyhow, I mean, on that road, there's a spring of water that comes out of the hillside, and that thing's been running forever. I'm talking about forever and forever, ever. And we would go there and stop when we were kids, and we get water out of it. And you could do it even tonight. And you'd see cars lined up getting spring water out of there, and everybody's fine. I mean, we got 6 toes, but it helps with balance. And so anyhow, there's no problem with it. But that thing's been running for generations, and it's still running tonight. You could bring somebody out from 200 years ago, some traveler, some settler. You know what they'd say? Hey, that spring was sufficient for me. I was refreshed by that. You could pull somebody out from 100 years ago, and they could testify the same. Said, we took our wagon over that hill, and that spring was sufficient for us. We got what we needed there. And I can testify here tonight as a kid, but every time we went there was enough water in it. But it could run dry. Right. But you march out every Christian that has ever lived, and there's not one that could testify truthfully that Jesus ever failed. We would all have to testify and say we went to that well and it's satisfied. Every single time there was enough. I quoted that song a minute ago, and I'll give you this story. There's a man named Stuart Hamblin. And Stuart Hamblin grew up and moved to Hollywood, and he was a songwriter, became sort of a celebrity and drank and caroused, lived the lifestyle of a celebrity. And he wrote songs for a lot of famous singers like Pat Boone and Brother Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley and people like that. And made a lot of money. But in 1949, a young evangelist who was fundamental and straight down the line at that time went out to Hollywood to hold a campaign. They began to hold these big crusades, and that evangelist had a one-on-one meeting privately with Stuart Hamblin. And that preacher back then was a young man named Billy Graham. And Billy Graham began to witness to Stuart Hamblin and led Stuart Hamblin to Christ. Stuart Hamblin began to write Christian songs. One night he was visiting with one of his Hollywood celebrity friends. And as they talked, he was beginning to tell that man about how God had changed his life and how different he was. And he looked at his friend and he said, hey, John, I want you to know this. He said, it's no secret what God can do. And he said, what he's done for other people, he could do it for you too. And began to witness to his friend, and his friend looked at him, and John Wayne said to Stuart Hamblin, he said, hey, Stuart, you ought to write a song about that. He said, that phrase is catchy. And he went home, Stuart Hamblin went home, and when he went inside, his clock chimed 12 midnight. And he sat down and wrote that song, and by 12:17, he'd written the entire song. And that first verse says, the chimes of time ring out the news. Another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Is that someone you? But it gets to that chorus, and it thunders out, it is no secret. You know, what God can do and what he's done for others, he can do for you. I tell you, I cling to that for a few reasons. Number one, because there's people in our church and every church that have needs. And if we're not careful, sometimes unbelief will sneak in there and tell us, yeah, but he won't do it for you. He did it for them, but that kind of thing doesn't happen for you. But I want to encourage you and remind you, he's just as much God as he's ever been. I also need that because some people say the days of doing anything for God the way we do things is over. I just don't believe that. I believe He's just as much God as He's ever been. And I still believe there's hope. And I just want to encourage you tonight, whatever your need is, I don't know your need, but I know your answer. And He can still meet the need tonight. Here's what I'll challenge you. Don't give up praying for that person. Don't give up holding out hope for God to turn whatever it is around. Anchor your faith in God because He can get it done. I promise you that. Listen, I'm going to pray. That's my thought. Just leave with you. He's just as much God as He's ever been. Wonder what your need is tonight. Don't measure your need up against you. Measure your need up against God. He's able. Bow your heads with me just for a moment. I pray God to help you with that thought. It is no secret what God can do. Maybe you're here tonight and you say, preacher, God knows I do have some needs in my heart, my family, my life. And say, pray for me. That I'd keep my faith in Him. That I'd trust Him with whatever it is. And you lift your hands and say, pray for me. I have some needs like that. Boy, I see those hands all over the building. Mine's raised. I think you preach to people that have hurts. You'll always be preaching to somebody because everybody's hurting, aren't they? Maybe tonight and you've never been saved. You say, preacher, I don't know if God has saved me. He can save you. If you're tonight and you say, preacher, I don't know about eternity. Pray for me. I'm concerned about my soul. Would you lift your hand if that's you and say, listen, I don't know if I'm ready to meet God tonight. I just don't know in my heart. Would you lift up your hand if that's you and just say, pray with me. Just up and right back down, but let me see it, please. I appreciate your honesty. Just up and right back down. Let me see it. You say, I just don't know that I'm ready to meet God tonight. Pray for me. I'm concerned about that. All right. I'm going to pray this altar be open. Why don't we come pray on a Tuesday night? A lot of needs, but prayer is what gets the need met. Prayer gets God's attention. Lord, I pray that you bless this invitation tonight, please. Help your people in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's stand to our feet if you would. Altar's open if you want to come pray tonight. If you lifted your hand, why don't you come? If you raised your hand a minute ago and said you had a need to pray about, would you come pray? If you're not sure about eternity and want somebody to show you from a Bible how to be saved, I can show you from a Bible how to be saved tonight. The preacher's here. We have ladies here. Whatever the need is. Would you let somebody help you? Maybe you know somebody tonight. They're in the hospital. They're battling cancer. Marriage is going through a hard stretch. Children in trouble. Whatever it is. Don't give up on the situation. God is able. God is able. Folks are praying. Take your time. Preacher, I'll let you come.
Many folks are praying tonight. You need to come and pray. Anyone need to trust Christ as your Savior? You're not sure you're saved tonight. I remember January 1990, when I called upon Jesus, I found out that He's the same Jesus that saved the maniac of Gadara in the Bible. He's the same Jesus. He saved me that night. I thought of the song, Christ is all I need. Christ is all I need. All I need. Many folks are praying tonight. What a great truth tonight. Great truth. Many folks are praying. Some are still praying. You need to pray tonight. I love that truth, man. What Christ has done for others, He can do for you. He can save you. He can salvage your marriage. He can change your life. He can bless you. Great truth. He can use you. You know, it's a prayer this evening. Man, what a good truth tonight. Well, amen. Boy, thank you, Brother Cooper. That was amazing truths and a bunch of truths tonight. Amen. That was a great truth. Amen. And let's make some application of that. All right. Thank you, brother. It was awesome. Amen. Well, all God's people can say, amen. Appreciate you coming out on a Tuesday night. Amen. I know it's difficult. We've been going Saturday visitation, Sunday all going on, Monday, Tuesday. But thank you for your faithfulness tonight. I believe it was worth coming. Amen. We got a great truth this evening. And thank you, Brother Cooper, for a tremendous message and a help tonight. Amen. A real help, man. I appreciate that. We'll close with prayer this evening. And I'm going to ask Brother Andy to locally close with prayer. Brother Andy.